History is not only what is written, it's what is remembered and what is erased. For generations, one story was told, while another was buried. The African American experience is not a footnote. It is the foundation, built in the shadows, brilliant in silence, resilient under pressure. These are the voices left out of textbooks, the communities erased from maps, the brilliant history forgot. This is not a rewrite of the past, it is the missing truth. To understand America, we must finally see it whole.
Segregated shores, America's beaches and resorts. Along America's sunlit shores, freedom once ended at the water's edge. During the Jim Crow era, African Americans were systematically barred from most public beaches, hotels, and resorts. Segregation laws, and the violence that enforced them, made rest, recreation, and even ocean air a privilege denied. But exclusion did not erase the human need for joy, dignity, and escape. So Black communities built their own. From coastlines and lakeshores to tucked-away resort towns, African Americans created spaces where families could swim without fear, dance without restraint, and breathe without apology. These beaches and resorts became sanctuaries, places of laughter, music, romance, and renewal, where Black life could exist fully, even under the shadow of segregation. They were more than vacation spots. They were acts of resistance. This is the story of those hidden shorelines and summer havens, of resilience shaped by exclusion and beauty born from necessity. This is the history of segregated beaches and resorts, and the communities that transformed them into symbols of freedom. This multi-episode series will tell the history of 12 segregated beaches and resorts, and the communities that transformed them into symbols of freedom. American Beach, Bruce's Beach, Buckrow Beach, Carr's Beach, Chicken Bone Beach, Highland Beach, Idlewild, Oak Bluffs, Pleasure Island, Sag Harbor, the Ink Well, and Virginia Key Beach. Carr's Beach reminds us that Black history is not only written in laws and protests. It lives in dance floors, in melodies, in nights where laughter drowned out exclusion. Though the buildings are gone, the legacy remains, carried in sound, memory, and movement. The water still meets the shore. And if you listen closely, you can still hear the music. This is Carr's Beach. This is the African American experience. When history speaks of resistance, it often speaks in the language of struggle. But sometimes, resistance arrives dressed in elegance, carried on music, lit by laughter. Along the shores of Maryland's Chesapeake Bay stood a place where Black Americans did more than endure segregation. They celebrated life in its midst. This was Carr's Beach, a shoreline transformed into a cultural stage where Black joy, Black artistry, and Black independence came together under open skies. In the early 1900s, African Americans across Maryland were barred from white-only beaches and resorts. Public leisure spaces were segregated by law and enforced by threat. But where exclusion existed, opportunity followed. Black entrepreneurs understood that denied access created unmet demand. And Carr's Beach was born from that truth. Located near Annapolis, Carr's Beach emerged as a Black-owned resort offering what segregation refused to provide: access, dignity, and delight. Carr's Beach was not modest. It was vibrant. Families gathered during the day. Couples strolled at sunset. And when night fell, Carr's Beach came alive. Dance halls echoed with laughter. The boardwalk pulsed with rhythm. The shoreline became a destination. Black Americans traveled from Baltimore, Washington, and beyond, not just to rest, but to be seen. Carr's Beach became known as a Black Riviera, a place where style, culture, and confidence flourished. Carr's Beach was more than recreation. It was a cultural engine. Some of the greatest Black musicians of the 20th century performed here, turning the shoreline into a living concert hall. Jazz legends, blues pioneers, big band icons. These performances were not side notes to history. They were history. At a time when Black artists were denied premier stages, Carr's Beach gave them the spotlight and paid them accordingly. Music here was not entertainment alone. It was affirmation. Carr's Beach reflected the diversity within Black America. It welcomed working families and social elites alike. Sunday picnics shared space with evening galas. But even here, tensions existed. Class distinctions surfaced. Respectability politics lingered. Yet Carr's Beach held something rare. A space where Black Americans could negotiate identity on their own terms. It was imperfect. It was vibrant. And it was theirs. As segregation laws fell in the mid-20th century, Carr's Beach faced an unexpected threat: integration. As Black Americans gained access to formerly white-only venues, Black-owned leisure spaces lost patrons and protection. Carr's Beach declined quietly. No preservation followed. No monuments rose. The music stopped. And one of the most significant Black cultural spaces on the Chesapeake faded into memory.